Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. All right, so today we're going to untangle two terms you hear thrown around all the time in the world of AI agents: function calling and tool use. They sound kind of similar, and people often use them as if they're the same thing. But here's the thing, they're not. Not at all. So let's clear up that confusion once and for all. So, you know how large language models are amazing at just talking, right? They're incredible conversationalists. But what if they could do more? The real game changer, the real revolution, is when they stop just talking about doing something and actually start doing it. So how does that even happen? How do they make that leap from words to actions?
Well, the answer is pretty simple, actually. They do it by using tools. And this one concept, this is what elevates a language model from, a passive chatbot into an active agent, one that can actually interact with the digital world to get real stuff done for you.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to start with the big picture, the overall mission. And that, right there, is where tool use comes into play.
So, tool use. Think of this as the big umbrella term. It's basically any time an AI has to reach outside its own brain, so to speak, to interact with some external system to get a job done. And that word any is super important here because it covers a huge range of action.
And I mean a really vast range. It could be something really technical, right? Like calling an API to grab the latest stock prices or running a Python script to crunch some numbers. Or it could be something more, let's say, business-oriented, like querying an internal company database for last quarter's sales figures, firing off an email, or even messing around in a spreadsheet for you. Basically, if the AI is going outside its own code to take an action, yep, that's tool use.
Okay, let's try an analogy to make this super clear. I want you to picture tool use as a master chef who's in charge of a whole kitchen. A customer comes in, places a really complex order, and that chef has to manage everything, the ovens, the grills, the prep cooks, to get that final plate out the door. Tool use is that whole coordinated dance.
So, let's say you ask an AI, hey, create a market analysis report for me. Its tool use process is this entire mission, this whole sequence of steps. First, maybe it calls a tool to get live stock prices. Then it hits up another tool, a database for historical financial data. After that, it uses another tool to spin up some nice-looking graphs. And then finally, it uses a fourth tool to draft and send you an email with the report attached. You see? It's the entire recipe from the first ingredient to the final dish.
Okay, so if tool use is the whole mission, the whole recipe, how does the AI actually do each individual step? Well, that's where we zoom in on the specific action. And that brings us to function calling.
Function calling is the nitty-gritty, the technical move that makes the action happen. It's that exact moment when the AI says, okay, I need to run this specific piece of code right now. And to do it, it doesn't just, ask politely. It has to output perfectly structured data, the exact parameters that function needs to run. There's absolutely no room for error or guesswork.
So let's jump back to our chef in the kitchen. Function calling is not the chef making the whole meal. No, it's the chef turning to one specific smart oven and giving a single, precise command. Bake, 400 degrees, 20 minutes. It's that one laser-focused instruction for one specific tool. That's it.
And this is what it actually looks like under the hood. See, the AI doesn't just kind of say, hey, what's the weather like? No, it generates this, an exact structured command. You've got the function name getWeather, and then the super specific parameters. The city is Delhi. The date is 2025-08-10. The program on the other side receives that and knows exactly what to do. No questions asked, no guesswork needed.
All right, so we've got the big picture mission and the tiny, precise action. Let's put them right next to each other and really nail down the difference for good.
Using our chef analogy one last time, it really boils down to this. Tool use, that's the chef's entire recipe to make the dish, A to Z. Function calling, that's just one line in that recipe, like preheat the oven. Okay, let's get a little more formal and break this down. So, first, look at scope. Function calling is just a single, well-defined action. But tool use, that's any interaction with an outside tool, and that directly affects their output. A function call produces a neat little package of parameters for one single function. A tool use process, though, could involve a whole bunch of steps using a bunch of different tools.
And that, right there, shows you their real relationship. Function calling is the fundamental building block. Tool use is the whole house you build with those blocks.
So if you're going to remember just one thing, let it be this. Function calling is the technical handshake. It's the how do you do between the AI and a specific program. Tool use, that's the broader mission. That's the whole point, to actually get work done out in the real world.
Okay, so why are we getting so into the weeds on this? Why does this distinction even matter? What does it mean for where AI is headed?
Well, it matters a ton because reliable function calling is the absolute foundation that modern AI agents are built on. Think about it. By making this one little building block, this handshake, rock solid, developers can then build these incredibly powerful and complex systems that can use a whole toolbox of, well, tools to do amazing things. If that function call is shaky, the entire mission of tool use just falls apart. It's that crucial.
You see, this is what moves AI from being a passive library of information to being an active partner, something that can help you create and execute. So now that AIs are becoming these master tool users, the real question isn't just what can it do anymore. The real question is, what are you going to ask it to build next? Thanks for watching.